Right now at 6, La Crosse rallies against federal firings and healthcare cuts for veterans. And a period of severe weather headed our way this evening. Our First Warn weather team is on it.
Watching WKBT La Crosse, this is News 8 Now at 6.
Good evening and thank you for joining us for News 8 Now at 6. I'm Emily Brown. Ken is off tonight. We're tracking severe weather headed our way this evening. Let's send it right over to Chief Meteorologist Greg Barnhart for the latest.
Yeah, definitely after a record-setting day of temperatures near 80 degrees, we have a very strong system that's developing the plains, so we have alert day conditions because damaging winds with this line of storms coming through, and it may not even be thunderstorms, a lot of it, just a lot of wind coming with it too. So we're looking at still about 8 to 11 p.m. It could go beyond that, maybe midnight. Main threat is south of I-90, but everyone will probably see a period of gusty winds with a line coming through at some point from now until about midnight. Right now, the threat there is still a slight risk. We do have a severe thunderstorm watch out till 1 a.m. for counties really along I-90 and south. We've gotten some reports near Des Moines of 70-mile-per-hour winds, some damage, some even supposedly a semi being blown over near I-80 in those areas in Iowa. I'll give you an idea of the storms that are going to be racing up this way. So right now, we still have some fire weather issues out for another hour or so, but really the tension turns to the severe weather coming, and the winds are still quite strong out there, 15 to 20, but as we time out the storms, it's not really till after 8:30, even 9 that you start seeing a lot of the radar start to pick up some of this activity. There's one thunderstorm starting to come through between 9 and 10. This may not be the main line. It's a little bit later. You're going to start seeing a real surge of a line come through, probably La Crosse between 10, 11. There's that line coming through. That could be some strong, very strong gusty winds, maybe over 60. This line will continue to push east, and even though you might not see actual thunder with this, I still think winds with this line and behind could be some type of damage with it potentially too. And so later on we'll go through, we have the storms there, but for the weekend, goodbye 80s. We're definitely going to be getting back to more colder conditions, colder even on Sunday. The good news, if you have St. Patrick's plans for Monday, it doesn't look too bad. So we'll break all that down a bit later in the broadcast.
All right, thank you, Greg. And a reminder, you can track weather 24/7 with the First Warn weather app. Get it on the App Store or on Google Play. The Wisconsin DNR is warning of extreme wildfire risks this weekend. Towns of Bergen and Stoddard are now banning all outdoor burning due to dangerous conditions. That means no burn piles, no burn barrels, and no fireworks. Campfires are only allowed in developed camping areas. If you're headed outdoors this weekend, check local conditions first.
Everything is really dry, and it's been upgraded from a high fire danger to a very high fire danger, causing more risk for burning and fires getting out of control. And so we're just looking for everyone to be safe.
The DNR says the ban will be in place until conditions significantly improve. A fire broke out at the Vernon County landfill this afternoon. Fire Chief Chad Burrows says it started around 2 p.m. and was likely caused by lithium batteries. No fatalities or injuries were reported. The fire is now out and still under investigation. State lawmakers are hearing from concerns over Medicaid cuts. News 8 Now's Grace Monk is in the newsroom with the details. Grace.
Active and lawmakers held a talkback session today with people who rely on Medicaid for disability support.
If he doesn't have these infusions, it'll be life or death.
Active provides disability services to the Cooley region. This includes housing support and recreation programs. The organization relies on Medicaid to help fund these services.
But when you live with besides a disability, and then you have mental health issues, it's very difficult.
Representative Tara Johnson, State Senator Brad Pfaff, and a representative for Senator Tammy Baldwin attended.
This larger story they were telling the story about making sure that they and their loved ones can continue to participate in our society.
Pfaff says if federal funding is cut, the state wouldn't be able to foot the bill.
How would that loss of money, how would it be picked up? Would it be picked up by the state? And quite frankly, at what level could the state afford to pick that up? That is why I think it's important that these stories continue to get told.
Darren Pelowski's son, Jason, has relied on Aptiv for more than 30 years.
He lives a fulfilling, great life that he would not have if Aptiv was not around.
Jason currently lives in Aptiv's community support housing.
he's like afraid that he won't have his home with his housemates and his caretakers. They're his family. They're everything to him.
Congressman Derek Van Orden and Congressman Mark Pocan were invited but unable to attend. In the newsroom, Grace Monk, News 8 Now.
All right, thank you, Grace. A Stand for Vets rally was held in La Crosse today. It was at 7th and Cass Street. The rally called attention to the federal firings of vets and cuts to support healthcare programs.
Purpose is for people to pay attention to what's happening to our care for veterans, and it's terrible. I mean, I'm a client, and I have a niece that works for VA, and it's just terrible.
Similar rallies were held across the country. They come as a federal judge orders reinstating most fired probationary federal workers. Today, Congressman Derek Van Orden visited Ornua Ingredients North America, the producer of Kerrygold in Whitehall, Wisconsin. The visit included a tour of the facility and a discussion on the important role the company plays in the 3rd District.
This is a fantastic partnership between an Irish company and us locally here, so that we can provide high quality, inexpensive food around the country and the world. It's fantastic.
Last week, the USDA released millions of dollars for the Dairy Business Innovation Initiative program, benefiting at least 420 businesses across the state. Judge Brad Schimmel toured ORC Industries in La Crosse this afternoon. Schimmel met with employees at the facility and also got to see how the products are made. Says it is meaningful to be able to see what businesses are doing for the people of Wisconsin.
I'm enforcing the law or applying the law. Knowing what's behind the scenes, what people do for a living, it always helps.
ORC Industries is working to improve the lives of people with disabilities by providing meaningful employment opportunities. The La Crosse Regional Airport released updates on their air service operations. Air Wisconsin will no longer be providing services for American Airlines to La Crosse Regional Airport. With this change, Envoy Airline will take over, replacing the CRJ-200 with a larger E-170 aircraft. The new plane will increase seating capacity from 50 to 70 seats.
So we're going to have additional seats in our market every single day, and that is huge. So the key thing is here for our catchment area for our passengers to use this service.
The changes will go into effect April 4th. One of the 3 suspects in a Northside shooting appeared in La Crosse County Court today. 19-year-old Jason Moran is facing charges of attempted first-degree intentional homicide. He is accused, along with a 13-year-old and a 16-year-old, of shooting a person Sunday night on Logan Street. He is held on a $100,000 cash bond. Another La Crosse School Board candidate is dropping out of the race ahead of the April election. Kevin Hunt announcing his exit this morning. Due to election rules, his name will still appear on the ballot, but he's endorsing 3 other candidates, Molly Fuchs, Meredith Garcia, and Jeff Jackson, urging voters to support a slate of progressive candidates. Another candidate, Sam Morris, withdrew last month, citing ongoing hateful comments. The basketball postseason has taken over, and tonight the UW La Crosse Eagles are in action. Our own Kate Overton is live at Mitchell Hall with a look ahead at the big game. Kate.
Yeah, Emily, the Eagles are in the Sweet 16 for the first time in school history, and they even got the honor to host it. Tonight, UW La Crosse will be taking on Illinois Wesleyan at a 7 o'clock tip. If the Eagles win, they'll be in the Elite 8 tomorrow. Coming up later in the show, hear from the team and how they're feeling going into the night. Emily, back to you.
All right, thank you, Kate. Coming up, a flight on fire. An American Airlines flight forced to make an emergency landing. The dramatic video right after this. New video of that plane fire at Denver's airport. The American Airlines flight from Colorado Springs to Dallas had to make an emergency landing. While taking to the gate, an engine caught fire. 178 people were on board. Some passengers had to evacuate by climbing out onto a wing.
There was no slides. People were jumping off the wing to the ground. I mean, the ambulances had to take a lot of people away because they jumped off the wing.
12 passengers suffered minor injuries. The FAA is investigating what went wrong. Well, we have more news ahead, but first.
Yeah, we definitely have severe thunderstorms coming in the picture here. We'll kind of explain what's going on here after the break, time it out and everything for you, and your important St. Patrick's Day weekend forecast all coming up. And your first warm weather forecast up after the break. Yeah, although we have the storms this evening, and of course, don't forget the weekend, we have a lot colder conditions, so dress appropriate because we're not going to see 60s, 70s, not even 50s really. It's going to be 40s and then 30s almost for Sunday. So it's going to feel more like early March once again. So once these storms come by, it's not going to be a real pleasant weekend. Good news is, once we go into Monday, St. Patrick's Day actually looks fairly nice too. Overall, the severe thunderstorm watch was to the south, but now we've been included all the way up to about I-90. This is till about 1 a.m. for severe thunderstorms to come through, and the main threat is still damaging winds as it really surges northward with already the wind that's occurring. It won't take too much to get some of these wind gusts well over 60, and we've had reports all the way down toward Des Moines, Iowa, in those areas of 60 to 70 with some of the thunderstorms too. So that's what we're going to keep in tune to. If you look at the big picture, all that activity there kind of developed over Iowa. That's what they're seeing, the storms right here, this overarching little line, and that's eventually going to push our way and maybe expand a little bit, but that's kind of as the big low begins to spin to the south. So this is the line that we'll be monitoring as it gets closer and closer to our area here, probably about another couple hours. But overall, the radar, still everything to the south. There's the watch. Here's the wind gust right now. That's ahead of the storm. So we're already still getting gusts in 25 to 35. So as I mentioned, the winds won't take too much to get these gusts over 60. As you time it out, it's really not till after about 8, Decorah starts seeing the initial push of this line. This tends to look like it might fall apart a little bit as it comes through about 10 to 10:15 for La Crosse. So gusty winds with that, maybe some pea-sized hail too. But this second line is really the one that to keep an eye on. That one definitely could have really strong winds, sustained winds with it and behind it as it comes through. Probably Prairie du Chien by 10:45. Eventually La Crosse could see this between 11 and 11:30. And then Eau Claire will still see some activity continuing, but this line really starts to weaken a little bit towards midnight, so it will come through I-94 maybe just after midnight. But by that point, I don't know if we'll see quite as strong winds. The good news is once this does lift north by about after 1, a lot of the rest of the night is fairly quiet, lighter winds, all the activity pushes to the west. We don't see much going on until the morning when we have another push of moisture, but that's just going to be showers in the morning. It's not going to amount to too much in the precipitation-wise. As the backside of that, you can start seeing snow west of Minneapolis. This will come through, and notice the temperatures are right around 50 degrees across the area. That's what we're going to start with, but eventually that colder air is going to win out and our temperatures will continue to fall all day. Showers will continue mainly in the morning and north of I-90, continue to wrap around. We could see a little mix at some areas, maybe west of Eau Claire to Menominee up to about Ladysmith area, but overall I think most of the area in the afternoon will be dry. But notice the winds begin to turn around and the temperatures are already in the 30s in some area. By the time we get to the evening hour, that wind will be a factor. Those temperatures will be in the 30s, so there'll be a wind chill in the teens. So it's definitely not going to feel that pleasant for Saturday evening activities right now going on, although we won't see much in the way of precipitation. Wind speeds will be a problem as we get towards the afternoon of Saturday. As you notice, they start to pick up out of the west. They turn around to the west, 15 to 25 potentially, with gusts as maybe high as 40. Southern Wisconsin may see gusts over 50 with this wind in the afternoon. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on. There's your Sunday's highs, definitely chillier, 40s, upper 30s. Much colder than what we've had. The good news is St. Patrick's Day, we're getting back up to our 60s, so it's going to be fairly pleasant. And yeah, we had some record high temperatures today. In fact, La Crosse hit 80 degrees today, but unfortunately we're not going to see that for a while. Once we get the storms this evening, cooler this weekend, and then keep an eye on if you have travel plans for next Wednesday for, yes, accumulating snow, and that could be significant in some areas. So we'll get a better tune on that when we get closer.
Today was such a tease for what's ahead.
Yeah, unfortunately it's March, so we're going to come back to, March goes back and forth, so we're definitely going to see it. But if you're on the road tonight, definitely keep an eye on the wind, especially as it continues to blow with these storms coming through.
All right, will do. Thank you, Greg. Coming up next in sports, the Badgers in action earlier today, playing for a spot in the Big Ten tournament semifinals. Plus, the UW lacrosse men are preparing for their first ever Sweet 16 appearance. We're live from Mitchell Hall. Jacob is next.
Covering all the exciting action from your community, here's News 8 Now Sports with Jacob Lenzendorf.
Well, the madness is in full swing, and tonight the UWL men are back in action, looking to secure a spot in the Elite Eight. Our own Kate Overton is live over at Mitchell Hall for a preview of tonight's Division III National Tournament game.
Yeah, Jacob, we've got a big one in store for us tonight. Not only is it the first time in school history that UW lacrosse is in the Sweet 16, but they're hosting it. The 5th-ranked Eagles taking on Illinois Wesleyan tonight, and it's one of their toughest matchups of the entire season. The good news is the Eagles are on fire recently. They scored 197 points in 2 games last weekend and won by a combined 37. They played a tough schedule throughout the year, and the team says they're ready for this moment.
I'd say the key is just playing our game. Like I said before, we've played a tough schedule. We've played good teams. We know what is out there. So just play our game and come locked in and ready to play.
The winner of tonight's matchup will play in the Elite Eight against Washington University tomorrow night right here at Mitchell Hall for 7 o'clock. And we've got a big one in store. We'll have full coverage of this game later tonight at 10. Jacob, back to you.
All right, Kate, thank you very much for those highlights. Good stuff. Badgers in action in the Big Ten tournament, taking on UCLA, who beat them by 2 in late January. About midway through the first half, John Tonje makes his defender touch the floor, connecting on the 3-point try, and that was just the tip of the iceberg. It was raining threes today in Indy. Max Klesmit, good from the corner. Then Steven Crowell from the top of the key. Then the second half, new half, same story. Off the miss, Klesmit will miss it. Xavier Amos gathers, goes out to John Blackwell, who sticks it plus the foul. Wisconsin ties a Big Ten tournament record with 19 makes from beyond the arc. And here's another one from John Tonje's 6 on the day. If Bucky can keep playing like that, look out. They'll take on Michigan State tomorrow at noon right here on News 8. And now it's time to announce the winner of the final News 8 play of the week for the winter sports season. And it's Holman's Caleb Eggerichs for his throw in his quarterfinal round matchup against Muskego last Friday at Team State. Caleb would eventually get the pin, as you see right there. Vikings would go on to take down the Warriors. They'd fall in the semis, but a great season for Holman and a great throw there by Eggerichs. So
ouch.
Some of the
Good
looks
for him.
like that hurts a little bit,
Yeah.
but it's a good win for Holman.
Yeah.
The madness of March, so Emily, are you familiar and are you looking forward to what's to come?
Yes, I'm familiar with March Madness.
Yes.
I love watching basketball, and I was telling you a little while ago, I've got some teams that I can sport. I've got a few T-shirts that I can wear, but I'm really excited about UWL making the tournament right now.
stuff.
It is. So go Eagles,
Yes,
right?
go Eagles.
Okay, Greg has a final look at your forecast right after this.
All right, we're looking at severe thunderstorm potential from about 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. and damaging wind is the main thing. Even if you don't see the thunderstorms, definitely be careful out there with the wind. Colder this weekend, St. Patrick's Day, although does look nice.
Looks good.
We're lucky.
Yeah.
Silver lining right there. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight at 6. We'll see you at 10.